college football opening lines and first impressions. The NFL lines have been up for a day, but we're still calling it the opening lines because it's after Monday Night Football. And we did, of course, our office pool contest last week, our first office pool contest that we ever did, not just our first of the year, but our first we ever did. I have to say, so far, people recording their scores in the comments of that, they're replying to the original post. The leader that I've seen, the best picker, again, no point spreads, the best I've seen, 11-4, not including Thursday night games. So it just goes to show you how hard it is to pick NFL games like that. I'm the worst at the office pool, but
it's okay.
It's okay.
You're better at Survivor. It's a good thing.
We have a lot of different things, a lot of different contests, a lot of things to talk about. It's a long season, plus we also have plenty of sports. We do 365 days a year. We don't just show up for football season or anything like that. We kind of just always keep it going, find something to talk about. And, of course, now we have Joe with us. So we're added a whole new line of programming, these 3:30 p.m.-ish time shows. So I'm really excited to see where they go. But we have 16 NFL games this week. We don't include the Thursday night in the office pool. And, of course, tomorrow's show is the office pool show. So if you haven't recorded your scores, you just reply to your original post and post your score. And then we're not expecting huge crowds to be, watching these shows because they're unannounced for the most part. But I think after a while, you guys will get used to it. 3:30 every day right here on our Pick Dogs channel. We're going to do some kind of show, except Monday through Friday, not on Saturday and Sunday. We're just going to do our regular shows. And I don't know. We do the halftime shows, but we might even
halftime shows are killing it, Mitch.
Killing it. 7 picks in a row of individual picks that we've made on those halftime shows have hit. And we've also, I believe in the early games, we hit some monsters on top of that. The 4 o'clock slot, I think, was not quite as good, but I think it was still okay. It just felt not as good because I'm so used to knocking it out of the park on all the shows. But I think in the early show, we might have just been, a few games over 500, but a couple of those were plus 200 money liners and beyond. I know the Eagles and the Lions were both over 2-1 on your money on the money line, and we played them both for the halftime lines. So definitely love NFL halftimes, but we have NFL full games as well here. So we lost on We'll talk. Well, of course, we'll go. The way that this show works is we're not like some of the other opening line shows where they just read off the line and say, I think this is going to move. You want to jump on it because I'm so smart, right? But the way that we do is we just say that Joe's not used to me just taking wild jabs at everybody else out there, but everyone knows I constantly do it. I am a name caller. But we have I'm
not used to that. No, it's taking some time to get used to that.
Right. It's not a direct jab. It's just, this is what I want to see as programming. So this is what I'm willing to do. But we have we'll go through the card of games. We'll look at the line where it is, where it opened exactly, where it looks to be headed, because we already have some public action on these games and sharp action on these games already. And then we'll give our take. And, of course, part of this will be some of the bruises and bumps that we took on these teams last week, as well as some of the victory laps as well. And we'll do this on a weekly basis. I'm really excited about it. I think that overall, the reaction I'm getting to Joe being on our site is same reaction that I have, which is over the top. Everyone's super excited to have her here. And that
I appreciate it, you all.
And I think, for me, it's a treat to have somebody here that adds this kind of insight, and not, when the first perception is, here's the woman, is like a lot of people's first perception, and we're taking that, crumpling it up in a ball, tossing it over the shoulder, as it should always be, because it's like we're an equal opportunity site before the word equal opportunity ever became mainstream. That's for sure. So. We just want the best people. We just like to win. So whoever it is, whatever it is.
As long as we're winning, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. As long as people are willing to look into a camera, say, this is who I am a real person, they're always welcome at Pick Dogs. But we have the Giants and the Washington football team.
So weird to still say that, hey?
Struggling with that. I mean, just come up with a name. How hard is this? Edmonton did it, and all these other teams that switch names, even the college teams that all switch names. The Fighting Sioux became the Fighting Hawks. The red the Red, whatever they were, St. John's Red Men became the Red Storm. They have all these other teams in sports have been able to do it, except for the Washington football team, which I still think should go with Eskimos, is my bet, my pick for the team name.
But that's what Edmonton changed from, the Edmonton Eskimos.
I don't see where that's
Eskimos being used.
How is it? I don't think anyone minded that one.
No one minded, and that was the thing. The actual Eskimo community in Canada was actually sad that they were dropping the Eskimos.
Yeah,
so
I don't find it derogatory.
Yeah.
It's like I don't find it derogatory, racist, or anything like that. And it's like I seriously always err to the side of caution on something like that. And that's why I think Washington should be the Eskimos, just to pay tribute to them. And I think it's in line with what they want to be. I'm sure it's going to be some lousy name that everyone's like, it took 2 years for this.
No, we're going to stay at the Washington football team forever and make us like step over our words every time we try to say it.
I'm going to go with Eskimos. I've been going with Eskimos for the last 2 years because it's kind of like, this is the way that I saw the meeting going for this, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, Dan Snyder's at the table and someone says, one of his staff says, originally when they were the Redskins, he'd say something like, Dan, we should just do what Edmonton did. And he was like, yeah, I like Eskimos. I'm with it. It's kind of like, so that's how we came up with calling them the Eskimos. But, obviously they, Edmonton called themselves the football team, and now Washington is the WFT. But anyways.
Then just go with Washington WFT. That's what we should stick with then.
We've got, so the Washington opened as a 4-point favorite. It's down to 3.5. The Giants, plus 3.5 here, 0-1 on the season, did not look good against Denver. And Washington, they didn't look good, but they didn't look horrible against in their game against the Chargers.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Washington did have issues moving the ball up the field, but I do think the Chargers have a better defense than we're going to see out of the Giants, especially with what we saw against Denver the other week. The Giants just, I don't know, they couldn't do much. They lost that game 27-13. Both these teams on a short week, I'd definitely be putting my money on the stronger defensive team 100% all the way. Looking for a low-scoring game in this one. I know this line is moving. Opened at 43 for the total, down to 40.5. I see it some books, 41 at most. So if you're liking this total under, get on it now before it falls down to the 39 range. Yeah, 39 range. It's going to fall.
I think for me in this one, it has more to do with, I don't like that hook at 3.5. And if I could buy it down to 3, I think I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. I definitely think Washington is the better team. And I think at home at night, and I think the Giants, whose offense struggles anyway against this defense, is going to struggle. I agree with you on the under.
Yeah.
I just think that there's not going to be a lot of scoring here, which that hook, it bothers me, and it might come into play, it might not come into play, but I think it's one of those rare spots where it's like, I don't like the Giants here, but I could see it being a 3-4 point game. I think we'd be happy to have the hook, and I think the books would probably be happy enough to not get bruised on something like this. So
absolutely. This is one of the games I can see being like a 10-13 game, which is like one of those games we don't really like watching, but we had a great Thursday night. We had a great Monday night. I'm not seeing another great Thursday night coming up in the next one.
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos. I like those low scoring games, and I like a good 10-6. It's like 14-10, 10-6. Those are my games.
Right? Like when we had Green Bay open against, was it the Browns or the Bears? I'm drawing a blank. I think it was the Browns. In that 10-6 game that Green Bay just snuck out, but it's hard one. They didn't get the cover.
It's the old NFL style.
Yeah.
Go to the next game, and it's the Dolphins and the Bills, and the Bills opening with a loss, and the Dolphins opening up with a win. It was a big win because it was a divisional win, and it was a spot for the Dolphins where they don't normally win. Meanwhile, for the Bills, it was a tough loss because it was a home loss where they're seen as the tougher team. But we're seeing in the early betting action, 76% of the bets here bet on Buffalo with the points, and just 24% on Miami. 34% though of the money in the spread bets on the Dolphins, up from the 24% of actual bets, and 66% on Buffalo. So definitely some pressure there from it looks like the sharp money is on the Dolphins and the public money is leaning towards the Bills. And then for the money line, most of the money on this game is on the Bills. And for the total, well, 70% of the bets on the over, 97% of the early money. Of course, these are very small samples. It is early in the week.
Yeah, so that total looks pretty low for a Buffalo game, but Buffalo coming into Miami, teams have struggled in Miami, and I've heard from ex-players, this is because of the nightlife. Everyone gets there. They don't listen to their coaches. I think this is pretty early in the season, though, where Buffalo coming off a loss, hopefully will play smarter and get this cover. I don't know. This is one right now that I'm not liking this line at 3.5.
Buffalo absolutely smoked the Dolphins. The Dolphins were in a must-win game to make the playoffs. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they're out. Game last year against the Bills 56-26. It wasn't even as close as that score would say. The reason why teams struggle in Miami, and being from Miami, I know this for a fact, is that this is what the temperature is today in Miami. 91 degrees, 80% humidity. It is hot as, well, the face of the sun. It is that humidity just comes up right through the ground. It goes right through you. In these 1 o'clock games, this is why you see the Dolphins wearing those white uniforms at home pretty often, because they stick the teams in their dark jerseys out in that sun. And a team from Buffalo all the way up north coming all the way down south, it's like the same advantage that Buffalo would have in January against Miami going north. But the opposite, and you see teams wilt in the second half out there. The stadium a little bit different than it used to be. It's semi-closed, but it's still open on the top. And I don't know. I think this one is. I could see where they're coming from. It's a lean to me for the Dolphins in the revenge spot.
Absolutely. Would this be one that you'd be looking at Buffalo first half with your comments on the second half? I'm not seeing a line where I'm looking, but it'd almost be one where I'd be looking at Buffalo to come out strong in that first half and then wilt off in the second and Miami to cover.
I think it's going to be tight. I think the Dolphins are going to try and shoot for that deliberate pace and keep the ball away from Buffalo, try and drag that defense up and down the field, going, 3 plays for a first down, and just dragging and keeping them out on the field and letting them wear down. I don't know, but I'll tell you what we'll definitely do. We'll mark down Miami for second half right now.
Absolutely. Second half. I'm writing this in my notes. It's definitely a game I'm interested in watching. I can't wait to see what they come out and do. Have they named Tua a captain yet? This is one of my question marks in my head.
Oh, I'm not sure if he is or not.
I'm concerned with them not putting Tua as captain. I know on the weekend he still wasn't listed as a captain, and
he was not elected captain. Nor did he put his name in on the list of eligible candidates.
And this is a huge question mark for me with Miami. Why are they not putting that support behind their quarterback?
Well, I don't think the quarterback has to be the captain. I just don't. I'm with them. I like it. I'm from Miami, and it's like I'm a season ticket holder, and I always believe that I'm a defensive guy. Most people know this about me. I don't play fantasy football because I like defense, and I don't think that some of these other quarterbacks that are captains, are really even captain material. I think a guy that hasn't been on the team that long in some of these other cities, and then they're named captain right out of the gate, like Trevor Lawrence, is the captain in Jacksonville. Well, unless everybody is gone, the
captain, okay.
But unless everybody's gone from the team, why is he the captain?
I know. I just look at this. It's Tua's what? Second year with Miami.
It's his second year, but he really didn't play a full season last year.
Oh, but they pulled Fitzpatrick out when he was on a hot streak. I really disagreed with that. I don't know what the coaching staff's doing in Miami, to be honest with you. Oh, that's another story. Which game do we have next, Mitch?
That is an interesting scenario that I was not really following, but we got the Colts against the Rams, and the Rams on a played Sunday night. So not a short week, and then they head to Indianapolis, take on the Colts, who did not look good against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. And now here they are against another NFC West opponent.
Yeah.
And the Rams, Matthew Stafford, looked comfy there behind that Rams offensive line. Certainly, I believe that in the first half, and we said this at halftime of the game, is that they hadn't really cashed in on a lot of the opportunities that they had. Then we saw in the second half, they were cashing in. The Rams are loaded. They have a good offense. They have a good defense. But here they are, 4-point road favorite at Indianapolis. And you got to figure the world is going to be on them here. I'm leaning Colts early.
Okay, so I didn't like what I saw out of the defense for the Colts. They weren't able to stop the Hawks at all. That is my only concern where I'm looking at this one. This is another one I have to dive further into. Yes, the Rams beat the Bears, but at the end of the day, Andy Dalton was on field 99% of the time in the quarterback position. I think this is a huge mistake by the Bears. And so Rams beating Bears, yeah, it was a given with Andy Dalton out there. So I don't know. This is one I don't want to touch at this moment.
I think right now, like I said, I'm just leaning Colts. The reason why for me, but part of it is it seems too easy. In the NFL, it's never easy, and it just seems like it's too easy. And 4 points just seems that if it's going to be too easy, that it should be 6.5 points, not 4 points. And that we look at the money here. 88% of the spread bets coming in early are on the Rams. That leaves just 12% of the spread bets on the Colts. And I know the guys that Joe knows the guys that makes these point spreads in Vegas, and they don't lose. So having 12% of the bets on their side, I'm going to guess that, or 12% of the money, they're not going to take that kind of beating, and especially when they have 4 points to work with. And then on the money line bets, 97% of the money line bets are on the Rams as well.
Okay, so right now that tells me jump on the Colts.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that's just my thought process here. It's early, so yeah, Wentz is terrible. Wentz is still bad. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Oh, we all know Wentz is terrible. Wow.
He's not good. Meanwhile, the Patriots look to bounce back from their opening loss against the Dolphins, head to the Meadowlands to take on the Jets, the Jets, Jets. The Jets came roaring back last week to almost cover, but didn't quite get there. They're 0-1, but they're 5.5-point home dogs here with a 43-point spread, battle of rookie quarterbacks in this one.
Okay, so in this one, I'd definitely be looking at under 43. I think we're going to see another low-scoring game like we did in both of their last games. Jets, I don't believe in Zach Wilson. I really do believe in Mac Jones a lot more. So first look would be for the Patriots to cover this 5-point spread. But when we look at their loss to Miami, it says a lot. Jets lost to Panthers. These are two teams coming in with a loss. Both these teams are really going to want to win. Can the Jets get the win at home, Mitch?
I don't know if they necessarily have to win, but they just have to cover the spread. And the spread in this one is 5.5 points. So generally if I'm getting 5 or more with the home team in what looks to be a low-scoring game and a total set at 43, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Patriots are the better team. They're going to make less mistakes. I like what the Jets are doing. I like the direction that they're heading as far as head coach goes. You can't get any worse than where they were. And they have some talented players on this roster. I think the Patriots, on the other hand, have some talented players too, but I think we saw it again from Mac Jones, a lot of what we saw in the preseason, not throwing the ball down the field, checking it down. And it's like, if you check it down, very, very hard to score a lot of touchdowns. And eventually, you get down to the 10-yard line, you've run 15 plays on this drive, and you fumble, and you end up losing the game outright. And that's what happened to the Patriots in that game. I don't know. You can only check it down so much. I'm going to take the Jets here with the points.
And I'm scared because Belichick's heads are going to roll this week. So going into this game. So I don't know. I really thought he was more of the GOAT than Brady was. So I'm almost leaning Patriots. I wish it was down to that. I wish it was 4.
Right.
And then I'd be Patriots really solid. But you're probably right.
I would take the Patriots at 2. That's the number that I like. I like it at about 2. So I'm not a teaser bettor. I always say, I always give people a hard time. Well, I teased it to this. I'm like, well, if you do that, if you're a teaser bettor, and Joe and I are doing these 1-minute betting tips, and we're also going to do 1-minute betting strategy. So part of the reason why I don't like teasers is because you need multiple outcomes for a lesser payout.
Yeah.
And even if you're getting the extra points and all that other stuff, it's still multiple outcomes for a lesser payout. And one outcome, as we saw in our office pool, where so far the best score I've seen in the office pool is 11 wins with no point spread. Most of the people around 500 with no point spread. And I understand they're not professional cappers. They're not anything of that stretch. And that's really not the idea of it. But still, it's that hard. It's difficult to pick NFL games. And, there's a reason they play the games.
Absolutely.
So,
so which game do we have next?
We have the Philadelphia Eagles returning home from their triumphant win in Atlanta, getting 3.5 points against the 49ers. Back-to-back road games here for the 49ers.
Yeah, you know what? I was really impressed with I saw with their win over the Lions. They are 3-7 against the spread, though, in their last 10, which scares me. Philly's defense looked so good. And a home dog, give me the home dog with the points.
I think I'm leaning in the same direction as you, Joe, with this one. Getting 3.5 with the Eagles in this one seems to be a little much. I'm not a big Jimmy Garoppolo guy, and I don't believe in the dual quarterback situation either. Just to me shows you that one guy hasn't emerged from the pack, and going on the road in back-to-back weeks. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. We can find it out for tomorrow's office pool show, but we can teams playing on back-to-back weeks on the road. It's usually very, very tough that second week away from home. We don't see too many of these, especially to start the season. You don't see
unless you're like a Phillip Rivers with 100 kids at home, and you shouldn't be at home when you're playing football. I swear that's why he had such a good season that first year they moved to LA.
Joe's like the president of the Phillip Rivers fan club and the only member.
I am. Here is my T-shirt.
and the only member of the Phillip Rivers fan club.
The only member. I probably am the only member. But that's okay. I will own that. Dan
Marino quit the front office of the Dolphins when they didn't trade up to get Phillip Rivers. So he was so mad.
Really? True story?
True story. He was in the front office of the Dolphins, and he said, trade up and get this guy. They didn't do it, and he quit.
Oh, wow. I had no clue.
Yeah. He said that Phillip Rivers is the only one that has a release remotely as quick as his.
Absolutely, he did. We just never built him an offensive line that was strong enough
with
the Chargers.
Because all he needed was an extra half second. That's all he needed, because he boom, it's gone. Just like Dan Marino. Yeah. And that's why, Marino went through that year they went to the Super Bowl. He was only sacked 4 times the entire season because you could just get rid of the ball really quickly. I think Rivers also was never really given in San Diego the top flight set of wide receivers. He had a good tight end. He was able to take advantage of that, but he was never really given those top flight wide receivers. Most of his guys were hurt. Like when they did draft wide receivers, they were hurt most of the time. So they got Mike Williams right from Clemson. I don't think he ever even played, right? And then they had the guy who's playing now, their wide receiver from
Keenan
Arizona.
Allen? Not Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Yeah.
They had him, but he was hurt early in his career too. So Rivers really never got to play with really quality wide receivers there. So basically he's throwing into double coverage. He's throwing into triple coverage. And it's like you said, when the heat is on, he doesn't have that extra half second to look and see if anybody's even open. And,
Absolutely. I saw a fun stat about him. If he had as much time as Brady did in the pocket, it is that 3/4 of a second extra in the pocket. Absolutely. And Phillip Rivers is like Brady. He's not a runner. He needs that extra time in the pocket. So he's not a Mahomes. He can't run and scramble out of it.
Every time I say absolutely, I feel like I am Joe Madden. She says absolutely, it's her word.
Absolutely. I know. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And incredible.
Absolutely. Joe's word is absolutely.
They should be hashtag to me.
I think you own it. So it's yours. We've got the Bears and the Bengals. The Bears home opener, returning home after that second half in Los Angeles, second half to forget. We'll give the Bears a break and say it was a miserable spot to be in. It was a new stadium, which probably looks to me the best stadium, right? I mean, not just the new stadium. There's this when they say like the stadium costs like $8 billion or whatever, and it's like you see the stadium and it's like, even the Vegas stadium, which was nice, right? But it's not like that nice, like the Rams or like Jerry World or something, right? Where it's just like, oh, this stadium costs like $8 gazillion. Like you're kind of like, where did the money go? But like with that Rams stadium, I mean, you could just see it on TV, just see just how awesome it was. So you got to give the Bears a break there on that one. But the Bengals getting that win at home against the Vikings in a game that they gave the game away and were able to still win it in overtime.
Absolutely. I was really impressed with what I saw out of Joe Burrows. The Bears, though, Andy Dalton, like seriously, put Justin Fields out on the field. He needs to be there. There's all of this talk about not putting these rookie quarterbacks out right away. Well, let's look at history. You put Russell Wilson, Watson went out right away out of the draft. Justin Herbert from my Chargers went right out of the draft in there. You've got to take a chance on your top draft pick. And I think get rid of Andy Dalton, put Justin Fields on, then I'll believe in the Bears. Until this happens, I'm not believing in the Bears. I'm going with Cincy in this one.
I think it's a tough spot for the Bengals as well, going on the road, Soldier Field, opening day. Oh, man, I lived in Chicago for 8 years. I really love Soldier Field and the Bears fans, and I just, football is just better when the Bears are good.
But it's not going to be cold. We are like early in the season.
Oh, I understand.
Weather is not going to be a factor.
I know, but it's still the Bears.
But it's Andy Dalton.
I understand. Playing against his former team, so he gets a chance at some revenge here. It's not like the Bengals are world beaters. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears here. The Bears. Bears, 428.
I want the Bears. Get Justin Fields out on the field, and I will be 1,000% behind the Bears.
I won't
now. 100%.
I wouldn't bet Bittler's money on this game, but
you're going to bet his money?
No, I wouldn't bet his money on this game. This one's going to be a pass for me, but I have to give my opinion.
I thought we were going to bet his money. I love it all day long.
Well, we can bet his money.
I'll break it to him this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll bet his money. Yeah, it's okay.
I'll tell him this afternoon. We're betting his money. I think he'll take it better from me than he will from you.
All right. We'll give it a shot. I'm in. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars really looked pathetic in week one. Now at home getting 6 against the Broncos, who looked really good. But once again, back-to-back road games here for one of the better home teams over the last 25 years in all of football. That home field advantage at Mile High is something else. But the Jags get back home after really, it was pitiful what happened there in Houston. So, the way I look at this as well, if you lost to Houston by 150, well, I'm probably going to lose to Denver, who I think would take Houston also. So, if they beat them, then they could beat them.
Yeah, and you know what? I look at it the same way. I don't want to see it this way, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think Trevor Lawrence, yes, he is good. Yes, he is new. He will be at home, but the Texans steamrolled them. And this wasn't something I expected. I thought the Texans were going to be the worst team in the league. Jacksonville just came out worse than them. Denver really surprised me against Giants. I didn't think they were going to get that win. And again, they steamrolled the Giants. So I can't see why Jacksonville wins here, even though I want it to happen.
Those of you joining us late, Joe and I are doing this show. We do it every Tuesday. We're doing a show every day at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, at least for the foreseeable future. Just trying to get Joe into the groove here, being at Pick Dogs, and I think she's already found her way in. She's already made herself at home, cleared a spot on the couch, and I don't think we'll be able to move her. Says Joe. Yep.
I got the name tag and the chicken wings, and I'm staying put.
Basically, this spot's taken type thing. But, we're just doing different shows every day of the week, and we have these football theme shows. So yesterday we did our college football opening lines. It's not opening lines. It's just it's opening lines, but it's also our first impression. It might hold. It might not hold throughout the course of the week. So Monday, college football. Tuesday, we're doing the same thing with NFL. And it's not just reading opening lines. We're giving our opinion, taking a look at last week and some of the, the variables, changes that might happen this week, different quarterbacks, different whatever the case may be. And then Wednesday is our office pool show where we do our office pool. It's just straight bets, no point spread. It's a chance for you guys to win money. We have a sponsor. It's me. And so I get to make the rules. And the rules are, there's no point spreads. You guys keep your own score, and then you put in the comments what your score is, which is awesome for me. So it's less paperwork. But after the contest is open, and once the games start, I switch it to the comments are held for review. This way I can see what everybody's grades are on their games, so it's easier for me to record that. So if you go to post your score and you don't see it there, it's because I've hit that button, and I just need to check. This way I can record what your score is without having to dig through all the comments and see if.
Absolutely.
But
a lot of fun, guys. Make sure you catch it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be
3:30 Eastern.
It's going to be good, and I think I have some new incentives to increase the prize pool.
Ooh.
So more money, more prizes. I'm negotiating with myself. So it's like make it 100. But 150 sounds better. Make it 200.
Way better.
300 sounds better. But we have, I like the Broncos in this one. I just like the way they're playing, but back-to-back road games. And, that first home game for Urban Meyer as the head coach of the Jaguars. I have to say that, as bad of a job as the Jaguars looked, as poor as they played, they looked equally as unprepared for that game, which really was surprising to me, from Urban Meyer to just get flat out coached like that. We've never seen that happen at any other places that he's been. His team just looked they weren't out of sorts. They just had no answers on either side of the ball for a Texans team that, 6 wins last season and a fired head coach. Not necessarily the world beaters, also missing their all-world quarterback, who's their best player.
Have we got any status on Deshaun Watson and what's happening? If he's going to be in for this game?
I don't think he's going to be in for this season, the way things are looking for the Texans and the way things are looking for Deshaun. It's more off-the-field issues, but there's still talks of him being dealt, and I think that we see injuries and other things of that nature. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get dealt somewhere else and play. I think... we saw the injury in Washington to Fitzpatrick, which is thin at quarterback anyway. Seems to be a natural fit at this point. And, the talks were Miami, and they've been Miami. So it'll be interesting to see, what develops there. But, Flores strictly saying Tua is our guy. So...
but they haven't made him captain. Again, I don't believe what they're saying about Tua.
He didn't nominate himself. You have to nominate yourself to be the captain. He didn't nominate
Why wouldn't he want to be the captain? That gives me even more question marks. Is Tua looking to move if he wouldn't nominate himself to be the captain?
It's a good question.
Yeah. There's too many questions there.
I know where the natural spot for Tua is, but, who am I to spread rumors that he's going to the Raiders? Anyways.
Whoa, Tua to the Raiders. Really?
Yes.
Mitch, you made me spin on my chair a little bit here.
That would be
love to see that.
That would be the natural fit. It'd be the natural fit.
Wow.
Tua, and that's why Mariota's there, because it's the natural fit. Hawaii is Las Vegas is the 9th island in the Hawaiian island chain.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Hawaii. Las Vegas is called the 9th island, is what we call it here.
Yeah, Tua would be great with the Raiders. Give Derek Carr this season, move Tua over. There goes my accent. Did you hear that? The Australian accent slips out sometimes. The A wants to come at the end of the words. Well, okay.
I think you could say whatever you like. I think everyone would still like it and respect your opinion.
Yeah, there shouldn't be A at the end of over. It's over, not ova. But yeah, I would love to see Tua there. Wow, that just made me really excited.
It makes sense. It's a logical fit. We've got the Browns and the Texans. Speaking of the Texans 12.5-point road dogs in this one after that shellacking of Jacksonville. Really one of the more one-sided games of week 1. And the Browns, well, folded like a tent in Kansas City to Patrick Mahomes. He's done it to better than that. And the Browns still getting the cover, so they're okay in my book. 12.5 seems to be a lot of points.
12.5 is huge points. I don't know what I think of this. I think Cleveland will come out and steamroll them, but 12.5 points? Maybe this is two touchdowns, right?
I'm going to take that.
I don't know.
I'm taking 12.5 points. It's going to be very hard to knock me off that, the 12.5. And it's probably one that I am betting. Because I have a feeling that I can be by myself, which is my happy place.
All by yourself? Little island by yourself?
Pretty much. That's why I live in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Nobody bothers me. No one bothers me.
I like it. I would be looking at, what is the total on this one, Mitch?
The total is 48.
Oh, give me the over on this. I think Cleveland to cover this, we're going to have a higher scoring game.
So on this one, the total opened at 45.5 over at the Westgate. It's shot up to now 48 at the Westgate, so up 2.5 points with 54% of the bets and 39% of the money on the over, and it's gone up 2.5 points. So this line opened at 13 at the Westgate, and it's down now at 12.5. So the sharps on my side.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a reaction to Houston winning that last game. I don't think they actually should have. It just shows how much better they played than the Jags, but I think Cleveland comes out here.
I think one of the things that we also, have to take into consideration, and Brian and I have this discussion all the time. It's normally a one-sided discussion. I'm normally doing most of the talking in it, but I think with sports betting spreading across the United States and coming outside of Nevada, that it makes it a little tougher to look at these line movements and the money movements because it's more spread out than it was when it was just centralized in one place. So we don't really know exactly who these people are that are moving the line and when they're making the bets, while we did before. And so it makes that data a little bit less important than it was. But at the same time, I know that, I have all the games on and I'm watching them all in my house. And I know a lot of people, have the same setup or a similar setup. And I know a lot of people are at the bars watching the games. But I'm going to guess if you're at the bar and they've got all the games on, that your eyes aren't necessarily glued to that Jacksonville-Houston game in that time slot. I just don't think that a lot of people were dialed in on that one. I know the late games were most of the feature games, but still, that game was not one that was on a lot of people's radar. So they didn't see just how good the Texans were, and they were good in that one.
Oh, yeah. They played absolutely incredible. That was the thing. I had to go back and look at highlights because the pub I was at only had 3 games on, and I was like, are you serious? You've got 100 TVs in here and you're only playing 3 games. It was frustrating to say the least, but I couldn't get into
Joe was like, I'm not coming back here. Oh, wait, the poutine. I'll see
Oh, they got me with the poutine, Mitch. Yeah.
That's like Tony Brown, it's like whenever it's like, and Tony Brown, he didn't get his picks in time. And it's like, but he's the one that took us to Latai. Okay.
I love it. Yeah, I will probably be back there next Sunday for brunch, but I had my phone and I had my friend's phone. I hooked them both up to DAZN. I was able to watch a couple more games at the same time.
But USC fired their coach. Yep, Clay Helton was fired yesterday. And Texas A&M quarterback's been out since Saturday. And not a surprise there. A surprise that he's out with a broken leg. But the thing about Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher is a hell of a recruiter, so I don't think they ever have to worry about much there as far as depth chart goes. It's to me, it's a little surprising to fire a coach in week 2 of college football season. Generally, college football coaches don't get fired in season. It's a rare thing, but I think they feel that with the new way that the recruiting goes, where it's not National Signing Day like in February, where it's basically you could sign the guys a lot earlier than that getting a coach in there or getting an interim coach and then, having a coach hired that can hit the recruiting trail now was just really important at a place like USC where, it's kind of like, where I grew up in Miami, where it's like, if you don't win the national championship, who cares? Everything else is kind of who cares. We got the Panthers 3.5-point home dogs here to the Saints. This line opened at 2.5, went through the key number at 3 to 3.5. Both these teams winners in week one. Saints, a lot of emotion in that win over the Packers. The Panthers hung on for dear life against the Jets. Joe, any look at this one?
Oh, you know what? I didn't expect this upset in week one that the New Orleans Saints pulled out. 36-3 over the Packers. Their defense was absolutely incredible. Same with their offense. They were able to move that ball up and down the field and without problem against the Green Bay Packers. Now we have the Panthers, Sam Darnold in as quarterback, winning that game, beating the Jets, but just 19-14. Carolina is now at home. I don't know. I don't know if I have the faith in Jameis Winston for the Saints. I don't know if they just got Green Bay in a bad spot in this game or what really happened. Until I see this next game, I'm not going to have the faith in the New Orleans Saints that probably a lot of other people have after beating Green Bay. I am just not taking it. I'm going to ride with Carolina and the points at this point. I'm going to look further into it this week. But first impression is take the home dog with the points.
Yeah, speaking of home dog, this is our 9th game that we've gone through on the week 2 NFL card. 6 home dogs in here, all of them by a field goal or more. In so far in these games that we've gone over, I like the Panthers here with the points at home. It's just I like the hook. Yeah. I don't like it when I'm on the other side of 3.5. I like being on that side, and Rule plays in a lot of close games. I think the Saints in that super public game against the Packers, the game of the week, right? The one that
absolutely,
the one that was on. If you have the game plan, if you don't have the game plan, it was on your regular TV station unless your home team was on. I mean, it was that giant game, and a lot of people saw the Saints just dismantle the Packers on both sides of the football, and 3.5 just seems a little light there, actually, even, considering that. So it's almost like the books are trying to bait you in to taking the Saints, and they could beg all they want. I'm not coming.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I feel, Mitch. I feel like it's a trick. I really do, looking at this, especially looking at how Carolina played last week. But you're right. Everyone watched the New Orleans Saints run over the Green Bay Packers, which no one expected. They were the dog by 4.5, 5.5 points when it first opened. No one expected it. So I think this number is off. I really do.
The books, the books know, where to get the public going on a team. And right here at 3.5 seems to be a good number for them. We saw it open at 2.5 and go through 3. So, divisional game. It's got all those things going on in it. And speaking of big time rivalries, Steelers hosting the Raiders, the Vegas Raiders this time around, and the Raiders, of course, that emotional win coming off of a short week now, heading to the Steel City. Pittsburgh 5.5 point favorites in this one, line dropping 0.5 point since I almost said Oakland, since Las Vegas's big win last night against the Ravens. But the Steelers last year were the last of the unbeaten teams. And I certainly expect them to be very, very tough again this season. They looked really good against the Bills. We had a really good screen freeze of you, Joe. It was super flattering.
Oh, perfect. I love that.
It was a good one. It was like your eyes were like...
I looked.
It was almost like I got to pick a frame. It wasn't like an exact one.
Thanks, Mitch.
It's like, let's pick a frame.
That was not flattering at all. It was me rolling my eyes at the fact. I think Pittsburgh's gonna come out and beat these Raiders here. I think the Raiders in this situation, they are on too much of a high. I think they're gonna bring momentum in after that Monday night game, beating the Ravens. Initial first thoughts. Go with the Raiders to beat the Steelers here. I didn't see the Steelers coming out as strong as they did in week one. I think this is a letdown spot for them at home that they're not expecting.
Yeah, I was ready to take out the pen and draw the eye patch on you and put some spinach on your teeth.
I wish you did. That would have been so much fun.
You got to get the telestrator for the screen freezes. I like the Steelers in this one. I just don't think the Raiders can follow up on that emotional, and it's the home opener for the Steelers with the fans in the stands. It's I don't know. I've seen this too many times. I like the Steelers. I think if it was in Vegas, I'd probably be on the Raiders, but I just think in that spot. I always like when they show like the the different places, when they're in the city. Like, I don't always like, I don't like the human interest stories, but I like when they're in the city and kind of like right before they go to the commercial, they'll like be inside of one of the restaurants or bars or something and show something going on. In Pittsburgh, they always show that restaurant that like it's this sandwich and it's got just that mountain of French fries like on the actual sandwich. It's looks so good.
I love it. It sounds delicious.
Oh,
it's my kind of sandwich.
Yeah, it was like definitely a hearty meal. Forget the name.
Yeah,
of it.
I think it's too many points here with the Steelers. I'm seeing 5.5. So what are you seeing, Mitch?
That's what I see, 5.5. But I think they get it done.
Ooh, I like the Raiders to keep it tight. Don't know if they'll get the win here in Pittsburgh, but I think they'll keep it tight.
Okay. So we disagree on that one.
We do.
We got the Bucs minus 12.5 at home against the Dirty Birds. The Bucs, of course, have had extra days off to prepare for this one, to rest, all of those kind of good things, while the Birds got absolutely stomped at home by the Eagles. They looked pathetic. Could be the worst of any look of any team in week one. Maybe Jacksonville. I know a lot of people won't give Jacksonville the credit because they lost on them, right? They all thought Jacksonville was going to take the Texans, so they won't admit just how pathetic they were. But I think that Jacksonville, or to me, for my money, Jacksonville and Atlanta looked the worst. I thought the Titans were 1A or in that mix. They looked terrible. But, for the Titans, you could say maybe it was only one game. But for the Falcons and the Jaguars, oh, boy. And then the Bucs, having to squeak one out against Dak Prescott. They've had some time to think about it and to work on things. But at the same time, they don't look like a team that's going to beat teams by 30 and 40 points. They look like a veteran team that's going to do what it takes to win.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm looking at this one. I don't think the Atlanta Falcons can play much worse than they did in week one. I'm thinking they come out here stronger. Yes, they are on the road against the Tampa Bay Bucs, but I think this 13 points is too much for a team that just beat the Cowboys. Like, that was a 31-29 game. So I'm not looking for them to cover this 13-point spread. My first initial impression would be to take Atlanta plus the 13.
I think I'm with you on the Falcons on this one, too. It's probably not a game I'm rushing to the window, but it might be one of those sneaky ones to get in there. I think, it's one where it's like I like it initially. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper just to make sure, and it's probably going to take a little guts to actually put it in, but that's never stopped me before.
Atlanta money line. Money line, any way they can go into Tampa and beat the Bucs.
It's certainly a possibility. You see it in that in the division where it happens is that NFC South, where those big upsets happen just year after year. We got, two potential upsets, in the making on this Sunday, with the Falcons taking on the Bucs and the Panthers taking on the Saints. It's an all NFC South.
Give me the underdog in a money line parlay, and I'm doing it.
We go to the game between the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings plus 4.5 in this one. Line hasn't budged, even though most of the money and action appears to be on the Cardinals early. Chandler Jones had a career, more sacks than some guys have in a season or several seasons in one game against the Titans, really harassing Ryan Tannehill and really just showing that, well, he still has it, and he more than just has it. He's one of the elite players in the game. Meanwhile, the Vikings lost in Cincinnati to the Bengals in a game that they kind of had a chance despite not playing very well.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at this game. We've got a 4-point spread. I am seeing Arizona is the home favorite. Minnesota off a loss. I'm liking them to come out really hard in this game. But I don't know if they're going to have what it takes to beat the Cardinals, who just came out and blew the Titans out of the water, which most people weren't expecting. They were a dog in that game. Came out and won this one 38-13. I think this is going to be another one of those tight games for Minnesota where they are fighting just to the end to try to get this win. I could see Minnesota pulling it out. I have a hard time thinking they go 0-2. So I'm willing to take Minnesota plus the 4 to at least keep it tight and hopefully win this outright.
I think this is a tough one because we saw the Vikings, once again, now back-to-back road games and going all the way west here. It just seems that it's almost too easy with Arizona. And when it seems too easy, usually it's not. It might be an avoid for me, or like you said, maybe a Vikings with the points. I could see Arizona winning here, 2 points, 3-point type game, like we just saw in Cincinnati. I don't think the Vikings after last season are, going to go down to a miserable record easily.
Absolutely.
It might happen, but
Yeah.
I think
I agree, and I agree with the comments. Kyler Murray he's absolutely fantastic for Arizona, and I think he's one of the standout quarterbacks for sure. I just think Minnesota can do enough to keep it tight.
I think they do as well. We've got Seattle, one of the toughest stadiums in the NFL now with fans in the stands. Last year without fans in the stands, places like Seattle and Minnesota were not quite the same. But this year with fans in the stands, Seattle back again to being one of the toughest buildings out there. And here they host the Tennessee Titans. The Titans really took one on the chin there last week against Arizona. Pete Carroll probably took some notes on that one and how to get to Ryan Tannehill. Now Tannehill goes on the road into Seattle. Not known for blowing teams out, but, man, they looked good in week 1 against the Colts.
Absolutely. Seattle's offense looked outstanding. They were just on point with everything they did in that first game. But I'm looking at Tennessee, and I know they are 5-1 against the spread when playing Seattle. So this gives me concerns taking Seattle. Yes, I think Seattle at home gets this win, but I'm leaning towards Tennessee covering in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like we saw in their first game, 38-13 loss. I think it's a very tight game.
Well, one thing that we've learned about Joe Madden from this show, if we didn't know it already, is that she's not afraid to take an underdog, and she's not just a rah-rah cheerleader bandwagon. Go Yankees! Because I think she's taken a ton of dogs here in really not mainstream spots, and that's the difference. That's how I got popular on the internet. My dog of the day. These are what people want to hear and what they want to see. They want to win the games that everybody had that. Well, we knew that, but it's like, last night when I was saying, I think I'm just going to take the points here with the Raiders at halftime. Just like, I got money line bet on the Raiders. They're losing. They're going to win this game. Right? It's like, she kind of talked me off the ledge there. I'm like, what?
I got off the first video and I'm like, Raiders better win. I just told everyone, money line, don't take the safe bet. Raiders got to win. I was like, okay.
And she talked some sense into me. It was like, boy, was I acting like a little bitch on that. It's like, I got to get on the money line. I was on the money line already, and I was like, oh, man. It's like, I'm not going to win. I might as well take the points. It's like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, don't be chicken. Take them on the money line. Come on. If you think they're going to win, put your money behind it.
I did. You talked me into it. I know you did. Didn't take much, but you talked me into it. We've got the Chargers hosting the Cowboys in this one, and the Chargers played extremely well against Washington. You have to just remember how physical that defense is, and for Herbert to stand in there, and for the Chargers to get that win, it was pretty good. And meanwhile, the Cowboys, certainly held their own against Tampa. Now they've had 10 days to kind of prepare for this one. But are we going to see the regression of the Cowboys back to the Cowboys that we know, or is it going to be the Cowboys that maybe take a step forward? This one is an interesting game. Chargers 3-point home favorites, their first home game of the season in the new stadium with fans.
Yeah, I'm going with my Chargers all the way in this one. It's not a home bet, you guys. We look at this. We look at the defense. We got Joey Bosa. We got Murray. How well they played in their game against Washington, getting those impactful plays on defense. I'm seeing this happen all day long against Dallas. I think they're able to do it. Justin Herbert with his new improved offensive line, which I didn't believe in until I saw them against Washington. The Chargers getting past Chase Young and the Washington defense was huge in week 1. And I said it from the beginning. I thought that was their biggest challenge on the offensive side of the ball, getting past Washington's defense. So now they've made it past Washington's defense, and they're going to steamroll Dallas's defense. Mitch, what is the over-under on this? I don't have it in my notes. I would be looking at the Chargers total over because I think they are going to have a big game against Dallas.
I see the total for the game at 55.
Okay. That would be one I would be looking at. And then you guys definitely look at the Chargers team total, especially for that first half in the over. I think Dallas starts off weaker than they do in the second half.
I'm with you on the Chargers. I like them here against Washington. And I thought, to me, the most impressive part of the game was that when the Chargers needed it most, when they had those third downs late in the game and they needed them to ice the game and to hold on to the ball and that stuff, Herbert made those throws to Keenan Allen one after another, and just on 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. It was just like, you just not only, just made the clutch play, just ripped their heart out with every single one of those completions, just sucked the wind right out of their sails. And no matter how hard they tried, it only made it worse,
Absolutely.
Do it.
And like Eric's saying in the comments, Slater did. So the draft pick they picked up in the first round was Slater on the offensive line, and he was able to handle Chase Young. And that was my biggest question mark, how Slater was going to fit into this offensive line and if he was going to be able to handle that Washington defense. And they handled it like pros. They were able to win that game. I think Chargers have a very good season, and I see them getting this win easily.
I think we saw last night why Leatherwood dropped in the draft. I think we saw it front and center.
Absolutely. Did we ever?
Oh boy, those penalties, they just eat you alive in the NFL. They're even magnified. That one down at the goal line and the 1-inch line, and you get a penalty, like that. So instead of being able to just punch it in, try the quarterback sneak again, you got to throw the ball, bounces off the guy's face, it goes across the end zone. The guy you can't even make it up, right? that happens.
No, you cannot at all. And in the comments are like, yes, I did pick against my Chargers in that first week. I really had such question marks about our offensive line. I really thought Washington's defense was too much for them, but they proved me wrong, and that's why I think the Chargers are going to have a fantastic season.
We got the Ravens against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Of course, Joe and I will be live at halftime for this one. And this one's, these are two teams that know each other extremely well. The Ravens look to be a little bit depleted. I think they're going to be a little bit better this week than what we saw last week. I think that it's not just missing the players, because I always say anyone that can crack an NFL roster can absolutely play. We saw it, with the Raiders receivers yesterday, where it was not Ruggs who was really the star of the show. It was the third round draft choice, and I think we saw it kind of with the Ravens too, where Tyson Williams. This guy can flat out play too at running back, and it's like he might have been 4th on the depth chart, but they even said, on the thing that this was the guy they really expected to emerge from the pack anyway, and it's just maybe he's a little ahead of schedule. But we've got Baltimore and KC, Lamar Jackson. Sometimes I think he stays in the pocket too much, and doesn't take off. But Marcus Peters, to see him on Tyreek Hill this week, this is going to be something to watch.
Absolutely. This is going to be one of those great games. If it was in Kansas City, I'd be taking KC minus the points. But being in Baltimore, again, give me that dog. I think Baltimore off a loss. I think there's something.
Not Peters, Humphrey, not Peters. Peters is out, but Humphreys.
Yeah.
He's the money man. It's like for a good reason.
Absolutely. And then when we look at this also, Baltimore is 7-1 against the spread. So when we're looking at a team that actually really normally covers, I know they just lost to the Raiders. That was a hard-fought battle. They were the favorites going into Vegas. I still don't understand that line. I think Vegas should have been the favorite by those 4 points, which then I guess Baltimore still wouldn't have covered because we got that touchdown at the end. But that was one of those games that could have gone either way. I'm liking Baltimore plus the points as a home dog here.
Yeah, I think so too. And Nick in the in the comments saying Chiefs money line. I think this is when we go Chiefs money line and Ravens points. You could even hit it both ways. I think you could smash that thing right in the middle. I wouldn't say easily. I think that the probability is there though. Well, we got the Packers. The Packers always seem to land in this spot just when they look to be down and out. They play the Lions at home at night, and here they are, 10.5-point favorites against the Lions. The Lions, they were getting stomped by the 49ers. A lot of it was their own doing, which is typical Lion football. But here they go to Green Bay, who did not look good at all. But now they're at home at Lambeau at night and all those different things that go in. So there's two ways that this can go. One, of course, is that the Lions, play them tough as a divisional battle. Or, when we've seen this so many times where the Packers start going downhill and they just start scoring and scoring. They're jumping into the crowd and it's just, oh, God, just stop already. I'm bored, right? So I'm just hoping that we don't come on Monday Night Football and it's 42-0 and at halftime it's like,
and it will be.
Like there's a good chance, and it's like we're gonna have. It's like those are the ones where I'll be extra glad to have you because I sit here and just mutter for like 5 minutes. Finally say I got nothing else to talk about. I'm gonna go. Let you guys enjoy the rest of the half.
If I could drop this mic right now, you guys, and Mitch would kill me if I did. I'm not gonna drop the mic, but if I could hold it and say Aaron Rodgers primetime game, drop the mic. It's a mic drop. Aaron Rodgers in primetime is unstoppable. Give me Green Bay to cover the spread easily.
Yeah, I think I'm on the fence here. I know it'll be interesting to see the way that it comes out. I can make a case either way in this one. This will probably be one where I'm going towards the total and probably leaning towards the over. That Packers defense looks terrible too. And the Lions, well, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out and make a statement here. I don't think losing to the Lions is something he ever does. So I'll probably
and we've got a total of 48. I like it, Mitch.
Yeah, so probably going to go that direction in this one. Probably maybe stay away from the side. I don't love those double-digit point spreads, especially divisional games.
No, I do. Packers, Aaron Rodgers off a loss. I'm going to look up the stats for this, but him off a loss, then on a primetime game. He has something to prove, unless he's just totally checked out of Green Bay, which could be the case because he looked pretty checked out.
It could be very well the case.
And then Green Bay is going to go like 4 and they're not going to do well this year if he's checked out.
Well, we went through all 16 games for week 2 of the NFL season. We're going to do shows every day around 3:30 Eastern time. Today we were a little late. We were just chit-chatting. No specific reason why we were late except we were just chit-chatting behind the scenes before the show. So it happens, I think what happens is like we're both chatty, so it's like we start talking and it's like, by the time it's like, yeah, I like 3 marshmallows in my hot chocolate. I used to like 4. Again,
that was the conversation before, you guys. You missed out. We should just go live. Everyone should be included in those conversations.
But that's generally like when these shows run a little bit late. That's usually part of the stuff. It's usually some talk behind the scene about something, like that, something that is trivial. But anyways, we appreciate each and every one of you. We'll be back tomorrow for the Office Pool show. I'm really excited about it. We don't have to rehash Joe's and I's picks from last week. Let's just say you guys beat us. I think what we're going to do next week for the prizes is that we're going to tie in our performance into the prize pool as well. Something like we'll start at, maybe 150 instead of 100 just because we can. Because we don't have to get budgets approved or do anything like that because I'm the sponsor. And then we could do something like if you follow us on Twitter, each of those is $25, and then we'd do the $50 for each of us you beat in this. So it'd go to 300 plus you have to like us and all that other stuff. Like us.
It's not that hard.
Not like actually like me, just hit the like button. It's a Facebook like or whatever.
Yeah,
YouTube
you
like.
Give us a thumbs up like. You don't actually have to personally like us. It's okay if you don't.
See, we always say that Fonzie is not. He's not saying hey. He's smashing the like button. That's why I got it.
Yeah.
I got it on eBay. It's like a
1978
toy, but it's like Fonzie says smash the like button. Because there's other shows where they go like this. Hit the like button. We're just mocking them. it's like how much is an antique 1978 in box Fonzie? It's like it was in the box. I took it out.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's like how much is 1978 in the box Fonzie? I don't. Whatever to mock to be able to mock these people. I don't care. It's like whatever it costs. But thanks everyone for joining us. I enjoy doing these shows with Joey. It's kind of like they're planned shows, but at the same time we get to wing it and say our opinion, and it's awesome. So, all right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Let's make it a winning night. We'll be live for the VIP show in about 40 minutes or so with Bitler. I don't know if Zawacki's back or not. I think he is, but we'll find out. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day, and look forward to NFL Sunday already. It's Tuesday, of course, and we'll be covering these games up and down. But thank you.